Sisyphus by Steve. So we all know the story of Sisyphus, or at least have a general idea of him. Him being the guy who has to push a boulder up a hill for like all eternity. Point and laugh, people. His story is one of those classic don't mess with the god type stories that ends with a mortal who messed with the gods getting some eternal, really horrible punishment. A true classic. Anyways, Sisyphus was a king, not just any king. No, he was a king who liked to murder his guests in their sleep and steal all their stuff. Now, the gods saw all this, and for once in the stories, they cared about the rules of hospitality, and murdering your guests in their sleep and stealing all their stuff was, in fact, a violation of the rules of hospitality, and for once, the gods didn't like that. So the gods do what the gods do best, and they get mad. So they're all sitting up there on Mount Olympus, holding a divine hissy fit, and trying to figure out what to do, until finally, the only voice of reason apparently, Hades, suggests that they just kill the guy. So they send Thanatos, who is essentially just death personified, made hot, and given wings. And they gave him this pair of funky chains that could capture souls so that he could non-violently, apparently, kill Sisyphus and drag him down to the underworld. So he goes down to Earth and finds Sisyphus and tells him his time has come for being a little dookie head. Now, sadly, Sisyphus was clever, and he figured out how to at least buy himself some more time. So he starts flirting. Oh, wow, it's Thanatos! What? And with such amazingly crafted chains here for me? So while Thanatos was thoroughly confused by this very suddenly flirty human, Sisyphus steals the chains from Thanatos, put the chains on Thanatos, and then stuffs Thanatos inside a box and walks away. So with death literally shoved into a box and unable to do his job, naturally, people stop dying. Even if they were probably having their heads cut off or cut up into a million pieces, all the gross stuff, they were still alive. And who else would notice that no one is dying but the person who surrounds himself with the most death? Ares. And he was not happy, because where's the fun in war if nobody's dying? So he goes up to Mount Olympus and demands why nobody's doing their job. Why isn't anybody dying? Life's so hard without people dying! And Hades is already freaking out because he lost his literally #1 employee. So after like a month of wondering where he was, they finally decide to go to his last known location and find a very angry box full of literal death. So they let him out, and while he does still technically have a job to do, he is refusing to go anywhere near Sisyphus. And Sisyphus sees this, and he knows his time is up. So he comes up with the plan. He goes to his wife, and he tells her that he is about to literally drop dead and to leave his body where it drops. She's confused, but she agrees. And when she does agree, Hades and Ares quite literally drag his screaming soul down to the underworld. And when he does get down there, he's met with the glorious vision that is Persephone, and he begs her, please, my wife didn't give me a funeral, she just left my body where I dropped, and she is an absolute bleeding heart with this, and she says, oh, you poor dear! So she sends him back to the living world so that he can get a funeral. I'm alive! So after like 30 minutes of being dead, he just comes back, and he does get a funeral. 50 years later, when he dies of old age, he does not come back immediately after he gets his funeral. Nope. No, he does not. So when he does die and gets down to the underworld, he is met with a royally pissed Persephone. She does not like being made a fool. So she comes up with his punishment for making a fool of her and messing with everybody. Him, Boulder, and Hill. Well, as they say, the rest is history.